Hello my friends, welcome to the Electric Viking. Fantastic to have you here on the channel. Now, Toyota is in big trouble. And I'm going to explain why, but first I need to paint you a picture of what is going on in Europe right now. Electric vehicle sales have increased by over 200% in Europe. Now, some would say that surprisingly, hybrid vehicle sales have actually increased by a similar amount. However, that number is extremely misleading because an enormous percentage of the hybrid vehicles being sold right now are actually just vehicles that come with a 48-volt battery, which means that basically it's really a nice vehicle just with a 48-volt battery that gives you a tiny power boost but does almost nothing for emissions and almost nothing for the actual car's efficiency. Let's have a look at the numbers in Europe. Passenger car registrations in Europe in the second quarter of 2021 were 3.4 million, which is up 66% year over year because Q2 in 2020 was massively affected by the coronavirus. And now, of course, most of Europe has moved on from that and things are returning to a relative normality. Now, in total, 575,000 new passenger plug-in electric cars were registered in Q2 2021 in the European Union and the EFTA, which is Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, and the UK. Now, this was up 237% for the quarter, making all electric cars marginally ahead of plug-in hybrids. But like I said, a huge number of those plug-in hybrids are not true plug-in hybrids. Now, Inside EVs has claimed, once again using their clickbait strategy, that hybrids are expanding and growing at a faster rate to plug-in and full electric vehicles. Now, personally, my first thoughts were, well, I hope that these hybrid buyers shift into electric vehicles or at least into plug-in electric vehicles, because it seems crazy to me that you would want to have a dual drivetrain and not bother by making the battery just a little bit bigger, enabling you to plug it in. However, the increase in hybrid vehicle sales comes mostly from so-called mild HEVs or mild hybrid vehicles, which is what manufacturers now are adding to their ICE cars as a simple measure to gain a few grams, no matter if the customer actually wants this feature or not. Now, the HEV category comprises and includes all 48-volt petrol and diesel hybrids, so-called hybrids, possibly even 12-volt hybrids. These obviously are not real hybrids, but glorified stop-start systems. And the majority of the increase is mainly the introduction of these versions to the existing lineup. So, Toyota actually sold more cars over the Q2. So why am I saying that's a bad thing? Well, let me explain. Toyota's hybrid sales went up by 64% to 326,000 units for the first half of this year. Now, electric vehicle sales went up by 236%. That means plug-in electric cars and battery electric cars over the first half of this year in Europe. But here is the key issue. Electric vehicle sales in Norway were 82.7% of the market. In Iceland, they were 44.3% of the market. In Sweden, they were 40% of the market. In Finland, 28% of the market. In Denmark, 27% of the market. And in Germany, 22.5% of the market. Those numbers would be higher if more electric vehicles were available, specifically available at a lower cost. Very soon, they most certainly will be. So those are the percentages of the car market that are currently not available at all to Toyota with their ICE and their hybrid cars. Remember that. Toyota can't access those percentages of the market which are consistently increasing in Europe at all. And remember, the European Union is going to make it virtually impossible to sell any vehicle that is not electric by 2030. Their CO2 rules are so prohibitive that it will be virtually impossible. And remember also, there is a number of European nations already banning petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030. So while Toyota has been increasing its sales in Europe over the last few years, They have publicly made predictions that this trend will continue at least until 2025. But I don't see how that's physically possible unless they go beyond ICE and hybrid electric vehicles, which, as far as they say, they don't plan to in Europe. Now, by 2025, Europe will be well over 50% plug-in and well over 30% battery electric vehicles. That comprises 80% of the addressable market. So non-plug-in cars will be maybe 30% of what they are today in only 3 to 4 years. So if Toyota insists on their non-plug-in strategy, they will be down at least 60% on sales in Europe by 2025, not up 30% like they fraudulently, and it is fraudulent, they're lying to you because they know these numbers, they're not stupid. They have people working in their accounting departments which can see what's happening. In other words, I believe they're committing securities fraud by lying about something that is physically impossible. How can they increase their market share by 30% in a market where they will only have access to a very small percentage of the market? They have to know this. This is not information that only you can see. This is publicly available information. So let's look at the actual numbers right now in Europe. Now, battery electric vehicles are at 8.5% market share. That's pure battery electric vehicles, not plug-in battery electric vehicles, with sales of 290,000 in Q2 of 2021. That's up 220%. Now, plug-in electric vehicles are at 285,000 and they're up 256% at an 8.4% market share. That means total plug-in vehicles are at 575,000 and they're up 237% with a 17% market share. Now, this is across all of Europe. This isn't just the wealthy European nations. This is all of Europe. Now, so-called HEVs or hybrids are at 241% and they have a 20% market share. But like I said, the majority of those vehicles are mild hybrid 48-volt electric, not real hybrids. Obviously, anyone that claims that that's a real hybrid is just utterly delusional. It's clearly not. The market knows that it's not. Having a tiny battery which gives you a little tiny power boost for a couple of seconds is not a true hybrid vehicle. So year-to-date numbers actually look pretty impressive, with battery electric vehicles accounting for 492,000 sales. That's up 122% versus the first half of last year, with an 8% market share. Plug-in electric vehicles, PHEVs, have sold 537,000 of the first half, which is up 200%. That accounts for an 8.3% market share. This puts total plugins at 1,030,000, up 157%, with a 16% market share. So what are the top markets? Well, the top markets for battery and plug-in battery car sales by volume in the period were: number one, Germany, with 312,507 sales. Now, this is for the first 6 months of 2021. And number two is France with 144,000 sales. Number three is the UK with 132,000 sales. Number four is Norway with 70,000 sales. Number five is Sweden with 69,000. And number six is Italy with 68,000. Now, what percentage are these countries up? Well, Germany is up by 233%. France is up by 121%. The UK is up by 161%. Norway is up 71%. Sweden is up 112%. And Italy is up by 334%. Now, in terms of market share, there are 15 countries that have more than 10% market share. But obviously, nothing compares to Norway, where 4 out of every 5 cars sold have a battery in them. That means plug-in electric or fully electric. Now, what about purely electric vehicles? Well, during the first 6 months of this year, Germany, the UK, France, and Norway and Italy were the largest all-electric car markets in Europe. The Germans sold 150,000 pure electric vehicles. The United Kingdom, 74,000. France, 72,500. Norway, 48,000. Sweden, 23,000. The Netherlands, 16,000. Austria, 15,000. Switzerland, 12,000. Spain, 9,000. Belgium, 9,000. Denmark, 7,000. Portugal, 5,000. Ireland, 4,300. Finland, 4,000. Poland, 2,500. So what this means, guys, is the number of countries with an electric A fully electric BEV market share of at least 5% increased to 14%, while 10% was exceeded in 7 countries. Those countries are Norway with 57.3%, Iceland with 21%, Sweden with 13%, Austria with 11%, Germany with 11%, the Netherlands with 10%, and Switzerland, or Swiss, with 10%. So as you can see here, guys, the key point to make is battery electric vehicle sales are continually increasing at an enormous rate. And we're not at the point yet in which most people can afford one. They're still expensive in most European countries. That, though, is about to change. Like I said, BYD has brought the cost of batteries down to below $100 per kilowatt hour. They're now at $96 per kilowatt hour. Many other companies are going to follow suit very, very soon. CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, is now manufacturing batteries at the lowest price they ever have. Battery electric sales are increasing enormously, and we're about to hit a tipping point in which it won't be more expensive to buy an ICE vehicle versus a battery vehicle. That's going to happen quicker than the market thought. Everyone thought this would happen in 2023. However, it's going to happen next year, very soon. And I think I was wrong. I think I was wrong about saying that battery electric vehicles would comprise 100% of the market, of the new car market, in 2030. I think it's going to happen by 2028. I think it will. And in a future video, I'll explain why this will happen and why companies like Toyota and Ford are utterly screwed. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate your support, guys. If you can subscribe or like the video, that would be unreal. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.